good time with my buddies, just wait and see. We've got our tools and our trusty old truck, loaded up with cases, a beer running amok. We'll take her in tune, make those engines roar, roar. With a cold one hand, we'll even the score. Beers and gears, it's our kind of Friday night. Drinking and working on race cars, feeling all behind. Roaring engines and cold brews, that's our recipe for a good time with my buddies.
I've said it for years. It's the most fun you can have with your pants on.
Yeah.
You want to have any more fun than that? Got your pants
I just love that he has the same mentality as me.
Yeah.
I told him that years ago. I said, I've jumped out of a plane twice, and it doesn't touch racing.
Yeah. I've never done any drugs. I've never even really smoked pot, nothing. I've never done anything heavy. But, I mean, a heroin addiction's got to be about the
It's got to
same.
be right about there.
And probably about the same money, maybe cheaper.
Yeah.
You know,
And really, if you make it one complete lap on your first time ever and you don't destroy the car, you're probably going to be back every single week.
absolutely.
So long the car's running, hell, even if it ain't, you're still there.
When I first started hobby stock, so I bought a car. You know, me and Luke Murphy go back a long way. So his daughter drove this hobby stock they had it for like 2 seasons. She ran it probably 6 or 7 times, you know, just sporadically here and there. I actually drove it one night when it was his and she was driving it. He put me in it. He goes, just make sure the thing when you go in the corner it ain't going to steer to the wall. I'm like, well, I'm glad I'm the guinea pig.
Yeah.
You know, so, but she was 14 and we didn't want anything bad to happen to her. So anyway, I bought that car from him. We actually swapped some concrete work for it. So the first night that I drove in the heat race, I'm, you know, my first real time driving on dirt. I'd driven my dad's pro stock once, but that was a pro stock. It was a whole different deal. You know, hobby stocks they're their own animal too. But I come off of 2 at Dubuque, and I don't know, I was probably a little loose or whatever. I come down the track. Brandon Beshin, who was really doing good in that class at the time, he was coming up the track, and we clipped, and he broke my left rear axle. So car spun around. Didn't hurt anything other than it scattered all the brake parts over. That was when we were still running all the stock brakes and everything. So I was done after the first night. So go home, fix the car, put a Mosier axle in it, put everything all back together. Went back the next week, started on the pole, and won.
There you go.
I was like,
that ain't a bad way to start.
I ain't so bad about it. Not feeling so bad about having to fix that axle now, you know. So yeah, it, like I said, people that don't do it, it's hard to understand. Like, you know, I'm sure there's people sitting in the stands like, what a bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah.
You know, but man, once you do it, it's the ultimate thrill. So, and I'm, you know, I say that as I have somebody else driving my car, which doesn't really make sense. But I've been doing it for a long time, and I have the same amount of work and time and money invested. And my 5th place finish will be Bones win.
Right.
So I have just as much fun sitting there watching the car do good with him in it as if I'm doing it myself.
That was going to be one of my questions.
And the first time that he drove for me last year, and he was driving for Timmy Current full time at the time. We're down in Macokota, and Bone gets in the car, and Timmy's standing there. He goes, "How you feeling about this?" I'm like, "Great. I mean, guys, spectacular." You know. He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "But how do you feel about seeing your car on the track?" I said, "I tell you what, it don't bother me one bit." I said, and he won first night out in the car, which was amazing. You know, Jacob Bellathorpe was leading the race. He was running the high side. Bone was on the bottom and just kept picking away.
Yeah.
And he finally showed his nose enough that Jacob made just enough mistake that he was able to go on and win the race.
That's crazy. And that was his first time sitting in there?
First time sitting in the car. In fact, he was in my seat. Now, you guys know how big of a guy Bone is.
He's tall.
6'5".
He's tall.
6'5", 250. Yeah. You know, I'm 5'9".
I stood next to him for the first time last night. I'm like,
yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So when it came up that we were down in Florida, we talked about it a little bit. And then he was over at Dubuque when they had the first mall car show. Because Timmy took his car right from Florida, all dirty and everything, which I wish I would have done. I washed my car when I got home. Jimmy's like, just take it all dirty. I'm like, I don't want to have it in a car show all full of crap. Would have been so cool to have a stock car and a modified sitting there. And you never had a car so dirty as when we came back from Florida.
Oh, I bet.
The tracks are a joke.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'll address, and I hope nobody that is in Florida is offended, but people that race around here have no idea how spoiled we are with the tracks and the facilities that we have to race on. As you go down there, it's a whole different world.
Oh, I bet.
The dirt is, let's say, less than ideal. The track conditions are much less than ideal. It's a whole different world.
That's just Florida for you, though.
Yeah. Well, and where we were racing up in the Panhandle, I mean, it's not really Florida. It's Southern Alabama.
No,
That's what it is. Beautiful place, beautiful area. It was neat, and I enjoyed doing it. But you come around here, you're like, oh, we got good restrictions here.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we got talking about it down in Florida, about him racing for me, or driving for me. And I had mentioned it in 2023. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to get in your car. Your car's awesome. But it just never panned out. So then he came over to my house the day of the mall car show because he was in town. He lives in Freeport, so he was an hour and 20 minutes away from where I live. And he sat in the car in my seat. And he's sitting there, and I'm like, you all right? He goes, yeah, I think I can do this. I'll be fine. We go down that first night in Macocata. He's in the car for the heat race. He's like, I don't remember being this snug.
Yeah.
He got out of here. He goes, oh, I didn't breathe the whole time. So how you going to run the feature?
Yeah.
I'll tough it out.
Yeah.
So he goes on. He won that first night. And he got a car to the feature. He's called Blue. He didn't take a breath the whole time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we wound up finding a seat. I said, just if I got to buy you a seat, I'll buy you a seat. Whatever, I don't care. A buddy of mine's got one that was out of one of my old cars. I know it's sitting in his garage. I don't think he's even using it. I'm like, all right, well, you can get it. Well, I'll put it in the car. Well, it just so happens it's the same Kirky and full containment seat that I have. So, perfect.
Same ball pattern and everything.
Yeah, everything was the same. So I bolted it in the car. And my mount, I have my seat jacked up about 2.5 inches off the floor. So in a stock car, you sit down in there pretty good. So I had to jack it up so I could see everything. And I like being up high in a car. I can't do the Dale thing where you're
down on the ground just watching the hood.
Yeah, I can't drive through the steering wheel and shit. So anyway, I put Bones' car seat in it. We go out to Independence. His head's almost sticking up above the halo. We got the big 7-inch visor, 8-inch visor on the front. He's like, "Can you take that off?" He's like, "I gotta switch down to see where I'm going." So, what a shit show!
Yeah, okay.
So, he comes in after the heat race. He goes, "It's fine, but I can't see the top of the track. I don't know what I'm going to turn where it's at."
I thought I was running to the top, but I was really in the middle.
Oh yeah! Oh my god!
It's crazy you can win like that. That's awesome.
Well, goes out there with no points. It's just a regular Saturday night, but they get 20-some cars every Saturday night. And good cars. Starts, I think there was 8 cars in the feature. Starts last. Wins by a straightaway. Unreal. Starts 13th in the feature. Drives it to second. Can't see the top of the track the whole time. Unbelievable. That's why the guy is. It's just amazing. His car control, his seat of the pants feel. It's awesome. So after that, took my mount out, mounted the seat on the floor. We're good.
I love his attitude when it comes to driving because I feel like it's close to mine. If it's not broke, he's going to try to finish.
Yeah.
And I've seen him win everything. And then at Macocata last year for the Dirt Nationals, I watched him drive off the track, hold it wide open, and Dukes a hazard that thing back onto the track. Because there's no walls in Macocata.
Oh,
so if you go up over the corner, likely either one or two things are going to happen. You're out of the race or you're going to flip it.
Yeah. You're going to catch, dig in, and roll.
I watched it because we're sitting on the backstretch. He just pinned it. Just slide it all the way around to the bacon and then boom.
Yeah. Stole the show.
You can get by with that. But if there's somebody there, you're going to have a bad time.
Well, the guy, the next lap, somebody else did it, jumped even higher than he did.
Oh, yeah. I've done it. I don't like doing that. I've done that down in Macocata, but I mean, you come off the track, and it's relatively flat. You can see everything, but you don't know that guy coming off of 2 with all the momentum where he's at on the track. So Sometimes you're the hero, sometimes you're the zero.
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah,
I just loved watching that.
yeah.
Amber coming to check on us.
I can't see what's going on. But yeah, so yeah, it's in. If you don't know Bone very well, he's a trip. You know, he's really fun to be around. He's not one of them guys that's got to stick up his ass all night long.
Right.
You know, good night, bad night. You don't get
Fun
out
either
of
way, basically.
yeah, he don't get out of the car. Oh, geez, you putting me in? You know.
Yeah.
Now we've had some nights where I the car up. There's been some nights when he tells me to do something that fucks the car up, and we're like, missed her a little bit there tonight, you know. But so
Is that how you tell him right away? Look at him like, oh,
yeah. So we're down in Maquoketa last fall. I think it was for the Dirt Nationals. It was so it's 3-night deal. It's supposed to be practice on Thursday, race Friday, Saturday. Well, we got
makeup for the All-Star?
for the All-Star race, and I think he started 6th or 7th. I think it was 7th. He was on the inside. So he's out there for the mod like heat race 20 minutes before this, like one race before the stock car feature. So I'm like, what do you think? You know, what's it going to do? You know, I think it's going to lock down around the bottom because Maquoketa does that in the stock cars. Like the hobby stocks go out there and race all over the track. And the stock cars go out there and they're all on the tires. Like there's nothing on the top. It's the weirdest thing. And then the mods will go out there and race around the top. It's been better this year, but like last year it was kind of doing that. So we figured that's what was going to happen after he came in the mod. He's like, I think it's going to be all around the tires. So I put the right rear lower control arm all the way up to the rear end housing, which makes the car, you know, really like it, which everybody thinks is cool.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes it is. Sometimes you're the hero. Not so much so that night. The car would not turn. You go into the corner, pick the throttle up, and just drive straight off the track.
Yeah.
He finally pulled in. He's like, he came in. He goes, "Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
That didn't work out."
We were pitted right next to you guys. I remember that.
Yeah, you were right next to us that night. Yeah.
I think actually both years we were down there, we were parked right next to you. The first year you guys were right, next year you guys were
To the
left.
Yep. But yeah. So then we'll hit it. 2 weeks prior to that, at the Fall Bash, we won lucked out. Racing's a lot of luck. Sometimes things got to fall your way. We won 2 out of the 3 nights at Tipton at the Fall Bash. Won the points. The last night, we were not going to win that race. I think he was running 3rd or 4th. Dallin Murdy was running. He was battling with, I forget who was leading it. Guy from Wisconsin, like that runs 141 or something like that. They were having a pretty intense battle up for first and second, and Bone was back, probably almost a straightaway. And I'm like, well, all right, he gets a third, whatever. Those 2 guys up front are really fast, so I'm not going to feel bad about that. But him and Dallin were locked in for the points. So I was like, if he doesn't finish ahead of Dallin, that's how close it was. So they had to finish ahead of each other. Dallin and this other guy get battling. The guy took him out going into 3. I'm like, yeah! I don't like saying that to Dallin, but it's our night. So that, I mean, hey, sometimes you get handed one. It's just the way it is, But then he wound up winning the points too. Dallin got put to the back. I think there was only 4 or 5 laps to go, so he made it up a little bit, but not enough. So that was pretty good. Those nights, that's when it's fun. That's when you really enjoy it. But then I go to the Buick and I get slam banged around and half the body gets tore off the car and I'm not having such a good time.
So what would your advice be to somebody getting into a hobby stock, rear-wheel drive car, stuff like that? We'll just say who has never done it before, because I already know you're going to tell me, forget everything you know.
Just getting into racing, getting into a hobby stock.
Yeah.
My advice would be don't.
Don't.
Well, got the engine right there.
But,
whoops.
but you know how it is. You do that.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I'm that guy who wants to drive everything he can while he can.
Well, you can. Well, first thing, prepare to spend a shit ton of money. Okay. If you, I don't know, are you married? Got a girlfriend?
Fiance.
Okay. This is what you need to do. If you cannot pull $100 out of your pocket, set it on the ground, light it on fire, and both of you laugh about it, don't do it. If you can't do that, racing is not your thing.
Yeah.
If you can, you might be geared for this deal. So that's my advice. That's the first thing you do when your buddy's racing a hobby stock or 4-cylinder or whatever the hell he's racing. You're going to the track and you're thinking, man, that looks like one. I don't know if the wife's going to let me though. You do the $100 thing.
Yep.
If she laughs with you, you're good. If she don't, get the divorce papers out. That's probably how it's going to go. So that's my advice. But okay, let's say you pass the $100 test. You're both grinning after that $100 burned in the ground. Like, all right, here we go. This is a good thing. Basically buy what you can afford. If you can't afford a name brand chassis or something that's the guy that's got 3 track championships with or something, it's fine. Fine. Start out in something. Get your feet wet. Because you're probably going to wad the thing up a pretty fair amount the first few times.
It's kind of what I'm thinking already. So
it's kind of likely. But get your feet wet, figure it out, and then as long as you have, like you buy a car, the best thing, like if you're going to get into a hobby stock, you find one with a crate. I would recommend finding one with a crate. Not that I'm a big crate engine authority or advocate or anything, but at least you have something that if it doesn't work out, you got something that's sellable. To either a sport mod guy or another hobby guy or something. They're just more marketable than a built engine. So, and then you probably have a little bit more reliability. Not necessarily, but you can,
Yeah.
But, something with probably a crate engine. And then if you want to bump up to a better chassis, you can always use your parts. You can always, do something like that.
Right.
You might get lucky and get a hobby stock that's a really good car right out of the box. Those cars. And the Miles guys are a perfect example of this. You don't have to have name brand or the best, the best of the best. Stock car is a different story. Stock car, you got to have some good stuff. It's a whole, hobby stocks and stock cars are similar, but they couldn't be more different. They're the same style of frame and cage. You look at a Johnny Spa stock car and a Johnny Spa hobby stock. At a glance, spring mounts and chop mounts.
Right.
But the cage and the general layout of all the bars, it's the same car. There's not much difference. But what they do on the track and how they work is a whole different thing. It's really tough to take a home-built stock car and be successful. Look at Cody Miles. So the car that he was running last year and was a car that Jerry ran a couple years ago, and it's an older car. Not a bad car by any means, but they just couldn't quite keep with the Spas and the B&Bs and the Terminators, and some of the more name brand cars. Now, the car that Cody has now, which I'm pretty sure it's a Wolf, which I've never really heard of them too much, but that car's amazing. He does great with it. So it's like, if you're lucky when you're starting out and you can buy something reasonably priced and you have a really good piece, great. You might buy a turd. It's you
never know. Yeah.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Is that what are you going to?
I bought Chuck's old purple car. The first car he had.
The first car he had.
Yeah.
Did he wreck that thing?
He wrecked it, got it fixed, and never drove it.
Never drove it. Okay, so it's been fixed since.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of. I'm sure you're into it pretty recently.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
You gave me a decent deal.
Yeah, so
you didn't kill me.
You don't have a shit ton of money in it. If the car goes really good, great. If it don't, hopefully you can. If you sell it or you want to sell it, you'll find somebody just like yourself. Maybe a guy that's in a Crown Vic and wants to move into more of a racing.
I feel there's going to be a lot more of those guys.
Yeah. So it's all just to take it as it comes deal. What did you buy for an engine? Do you have an engine yet, or?
Getting one built.
Oh, okay. Jason built one for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least with that, you're going to have a good piece because Jason built it nice. So that you're in a good spot there. If you buy something and unless you know what the engine is, you don't know what Exactly. The thing might blow up the first or second or third night.
That would be rough.
Yeah. That's where crates are a little, the dependability is usually there a little bit more. So if you buy something with a crate, but you're going to have a good guy build your engine, so you'll be good. You'll be good.
Part of it's right there.
Yeah.
There's exactly. Yeah. Are you going to run Power Glide or a 3-speed or?
We've got a Power Glide right now. I don't know. I've been asking a bunch of people, what do you prefer? Most people are saying Power Glides because of what they give you. Then a lot of people are saying for reliability and longevity, the 3-speeds.
I never ran a Power Glide. When I ran hobby stock, the car that I bought, I got from Luke Murphy, owns a transmission shop. He had a $700 Ford
Right.
built up to run. It was like a direct drive. Ran first and second gear. That's all it had. It didn't have third. It was pretty trick. It was cool.
Okay.
And it worked really well. But that was a one-off deal. And he's like, I'd never build another one.
Yeah.
It was an experiment thing. His daughter had the car, and it was something that he wanted to see how it would work. And it worked really good. But he's like, I ain't doing it. He's like, I ain't gonna do it for somebody to have go out there racing because if something goes wrong with it, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I never ran. I ran automatic, but it wasn't a Power Glide. My only thing with the Power Glides is I've always said you got to have 3 of them.
Yeah.
And that sucks. They suck to change.
Yeah.
If versus a 3-speed, and I don't really understand. Okay, so a Power Glide is supposed to be better for power delivery. Do they take less power to run than a 3-speed and a clutch? There's less rotating mass, I would guess.
Turn them into direct drives, and then
but I mean the 3-speed's a direct drive too.
right.
When you're going through the once you're in high, it's straight through. But you got a lot of things turning in there that soak up power. So if I was doing it, I'd have a 3-speed. Mainly because I don't want to deal with the training going out every 3 weeks.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know how to drive a 3-speed.
Yeah.
Well, that too. But I mean, that's easy. When you know how to drive a stick. I mean, obviously you're 4-cylinder stick.
Yep.
It's easy. Once you're in 3rd gear, you just leave it. So
It's exactly like our car.
It's the same thing.
Second gear, you're gone.
Yeah, and you don't like. I had obviously 3 speeds in my sport mods when I ran sport mod. I never really used 2nd gear. You take off in 1st, and then go right to 3rd.
Yeah.
It's just like a Bird or a Bryn direct drive, like what stock cars and modifieds and models.
Right.
You're taking off in your lowest gear. Once you get going, you just slip it in high and you go.
Let it ride.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, 25, 30 years ago, when even more people were running them cars, the pro stocks all had those saddle trims. Everybody would take 1st gear out of them, and he would start out in 2nd. So you'd have 2nd and 3rd. To try and cut down some of the rotating weight. Well, then, IMCA, in their brilliancy, requires you to have all the gears, which is the dumbest thing ever. It's a difference. I mean, okay, you're not going to win the race just because you have that 1st gear taken out and the other guy doesn't. But, so I never used 2nd gear. I just went, my transmission was, reverse was down here, 1st was up here, 2nd, 3rd. I would just go to neutral and grab 3rd, go back. So that's how I ran out every time. So, and then obviously if it didn't have 1st gear, you just ran 2nd.
That shifting's weird too. I drove a sport mod one time. Peyton Anderson let me drive a sport mod my 3 months into me racing. And he's like, yeah, it's either that gear to that gear. He just changed the linkage up that week. So it's either
I can't remember
this lever does this and this. Like, you'll feel it. It'll be fine. I'm like,
you'll know.
There's 3 levers here.
Yeah, and I had switched mine around a couple times too. So the typical 3-speed linkage, like in the cars back in the day, reverse was over and up, and then it was 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So you got your 2 levers. If you did it like a regular H pattern, this lever forward would be reverse, and then you would be 1st, and then you would just knock it in neutral, reach over, and pull back in 3rd as you're holding the clutch, like a regular car. So it's easy. You'll get onto it.
I mean, that's how I drive my car out there. I don't know how the sports are geared, but that's just how you drive them, honestly.
Yeah. And them transmissions you're taking off in 1st gear is way plenty low.
Yeah.
You don't, you're not bogging the motor at all. My dad's pro stock that he ran back in the day, we had a Muncie transmission, a Muncie 4-speed.
There you go. Yep.
With 1st and 2nd taken out of it. So you're taking off in 3rd gear every time, which was fine. You got plenty of gear, but I still had that transmission. I ran it in my Airs car a couple of nights, and I was like, and I had a regular Franzen 3-speed in it, and I broke one of the ears. So I gave the tranny back to Jarrett, and he fixed it for me. But while he was fixing it, I put that Muncie in. It had been sitting on the shelf for 20 years. I'm like, I might as well run this thing
Yeah,
again.
see what it was like again.
And
Yeah.
I go to take off, and it's like, roar, 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 roar. I'm like, oh, I forgot this thing. You're taking off in third gear, you know.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit more of a struggle. But your Saginaw's that you're going to run. You want it.
Yeah.
So, lastly, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think about the podcast here?
I think it's cool. Yeah, it's great. You know, I mean, just ramble on with a couple of dudes. I think
Pretty
it's great.
much. Yeah.
It's fun.
I mean, we didn't even need to use the list. You just
he covered everything. We just said go, and he said whatever you have there.
How long? How far? Yeah.
like a talking dog. Going on.
It's perfect because I was looking at the list as we're going. I'm like, already covered that.
Talking about that.
Yeah.
Didn't even need the list, honestly.
Yeah.
As
I don't have a problem talking. So my wife makes the drone videos.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to do like what Charlie does. His own thing, which is really cool. You know, he's got a lot of comedy and a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So, but she wanted to do more than just the drone footage because that gets repetitive and boring too. So she's trying to do more, riding around in the pits. She's got a little four-wheeler that I got her bus around.
We were just watching it earlier. I'm like, that's my car.
She go by your pit and stuff.
Yeah.
But so she sets her phone up on there and she's got a GoPro on there and she's filming stuff. And she's like, I can't believe how many people run away from me. Yeah. As soon as they see that the camera's on, they're like, they're gone. They don't want nothing to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's fun. And
it took us a little while.
Well,
the first couple episodes were like, well, my friends are here. This is why this is going to go. Okay.
Well, I mean, you pretty much just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking on. Like I said, you're just talking with a bunch of dudes standing around. We all do it for hours after the races every night.
Pretty much.
It's no different,
Yeah, and I've wanted to get into the drone stuff too because I feel like recording through the fence just sucks a little too much.
Yep.
But
the drone stuff though, like what my wife does, it's hard. There's no sound.
Yeah.
So she's got to dub music over everything. The last time we were at Makokata, which was about a month ago, she made a full video. I don't know if you guys seen it or not, but she was able to dub Jerry Mackey's announcing from Done Right
that'd be pretty cool.
on through the whole video.
That's
so
awesome.
the in-car she was doing more of the engine sounds, but the drone video stuff, she was able to have him talking, calling the race as you're watching it. Now, it took her hours to do that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
To get them clips.
Matched up.
Yeah, this guy spun out, and then, here's where he talks about that, so I got to put this in here. Oh, my God.
It's rough. Yeah.
I commend her for what she does on that, because I sit and watch this, I'm like, wow,
what wizardry did you pull? Like,
what I do is easy.
We're just saying here talking. But what she loves doing. She's big into photography and
that's
everything.
the biggest thing. You gotta love what you do.
Yeah. Well, and us racing, I don't want to use up too much time. Like, I don't know if it matters, but us racing, that's her thing. That's her input of the racing. Because I mean, she'll do whatever I need. If I need her to help her change tires or do stuff, she's no problem with that. She's completely hands on. But for the most part,
that's awesome.
She don't. So she's like, I just like doing the drone stuff and making videos because it gives me some way to interact with what's going on rather than just sitting.
Yeah, honestly.
So she likes doing it, and then it helps her to interact with more people, and it's a bit of a struggle because she'll put a video out, she'll have 3,000 views and 30 likes.
Yeah.
She's like, really?
If
you're upset about that, come look at my video.
Yeah.
We'll get like almost 200 views and 2 likes.
Yeah. See that, and that's anybody that's watching. Hit the like button.
Yeah.
Because it lets us know that people actually give a shit about this.
Yeah.
And if anybody watches my wife's videos, please.
Yeah, go down, like them. They're fun to watch.
But then she feels like it's worthwhile. Otherwise, she's like, why am I even doing this? I spend 6 hours creating these damn videos, and nobody gives a shit. But then we go to the races, and she has umpteen of people going, I love watching your stuff. It's so cool. And she's like, well, geez, I guess people do really care. So
that's why I always look at the view count. If there's 3,000 people watching, doesn't matter the likes, they're there.
You're seeing it.
Yeah.
You're seeing
exactly.
it. And when people come up and commend her, then that means a lot.
Especially,
so then she's like, it's worth doing it then. And people have asked her, we film my race and make a video for me. But you can't do it for free.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
Just the editing alone.
yeah. She's like, okay, if I charged $200, and if I'm at the track when we're racing, that's a different story. It's not as hard because you're there already. She could just film and then make stuff. But to do all the background stuff and like we run a GoPro forward and back, just like Charlie does.
Yeah, so you have double the footage to
So
roll through.
she's got to go through 2 GoPros and the drone and try and dub the announcer in if possible.
Yeah.
And then mix in some pit stuff. And so to do that for somebody, you can't do it for free.
No.
And even like $200, she's making like $10 an hour. I mean, well, I'm not $10 an hour, but she's not making much.
Yeah.
People think, oh, yeah. But I understand. People look at it like, geez, $200, I could buy a tire. I got a brand new tire on my car for that, or 2 of them, or whatever.
Yeah,
so
honestly,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
But this stuff is cool, and the biggest thing that it does is people that either don't live around this area, can see what's going on and stay in touch with things, and people that don't go to the races.
Yeah, exactly.
And then maybe they'll be like, oh, I should go check that out.
Yeah.
Maybe there's nothing.
And the amount of drivers he's wrangled in here, I tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fun. It gets the small track guys' names out there.
Exactly.
It gets, like you said, connection with people who are kind of into it, but not really. And
Well, and if you get those guys that don't win very much, they're running. They're out there. They're pouring their heart and soul into it, and they're really the backbone of the sport anyway. Hey, come on in and let's have a conversation about stuff. As long as they can fluently talk about stuff, that's great.
I mean, shoot, we can't.
but those guys will love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in case.
But those guys will love that, because it's like, wow, that's kind of cool. That's like a big deal, So
and so far we haven't had any negative reception of it so far. So everyone's
only negative it was the first episode was 2 hours long. And
mics were
the mics were terrible.
Yeah, we lost footage.
Yeah. Well, entertaining content. I mean, I can speak pretty good. I try not to dominate everything, but you want somebody that you don't want somebody who just sits there. Yeah, we do it.
Yeah, true.
You gotta have somebody that can look into the camera and not be scared and hold a good conversation.
Exactly.
And having a few cool stories helps. That's a big thing. So
and for me, I have almost no racing experience at all. So
he's learning as we go.
Really?
He hasn't even been on the track with us really.
Oh, no shit. Okay. So you're coming from a whole different perspective.
Yeah, I'm the question asker. I need to know what's going on.
Yep.
If somebody's in the audience and they want to know, I ask the questions. Hopefully that works.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't know nothing. I've worked on engines here and there, and I've had my car out on the streets pretty fast, but that's about it.
And that's what I wondered. I asked you if it was live.
Yeah.
Is it live? Like, are people seeing this as it's going on, and is there interaction?
Oh, gotcha.
Right. Maybe one day when we get somebody else on the side going, hey, somebody just asked this.
Yeah. I don't know how that would work. I mean, it'd be really cool if you could do some kind of a call.
Yeah.
Somebody, or I just give somebody my cell number.
Well,
hey, call me. You want to talk to us? Call me.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
First off, I know that Matt Bennett and the Robbinses and all those guys watch. They'd call in and just kind of spoof me and
jack with you.
Yeah. I'd have to have it on caller ID and go like, no, not this one.
It'd be like, hey, jerk, not answering. Good try.
Yeah, because I know exactly how we would do it. So when Johnny gets his man cave and we get a proper, nice setup going, well, I'll be able to do that easy.
This gets difficult when we're working on the race car because it's Saturday. Roll the car out real quick. Get the podcast.
We've had it. The engine torn apart, wheels out of here, and we threw the wheels on, just shoved her out.
Empty engine bay, just tires.
Parts everywhere. And
I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
I told all our guests, it's probably gonna have to have another part.
That's fine.
But we covered like a lot of it.
So, I mean,
actually, I'm pretty sure we covered all of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I didn't know what to ask, what not. I covered what I thought was good stuff. So
luckily, I'm good at rambling.
This has been a lot of fun. Definitely one of the best ones, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, it was good.
I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
It was good meeting you.
You bet. Thanks, guys. It's been great.
18.
Everybody that watched.
Yeah.
18.
Until next time, folks. It's been Beers and Gears, episode 18. I'm Blade. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
See ya.
Ain't nothing like it in the world.
Hey guys, don't forget to like,
comment,
and subscribe
to the Beers and Gears podcast.
My race.
Come on, people!